troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night.
Welcome to the SLUSH podcast, the only place on the internet where we cover Ghostbusters to baby diapers and everything in between.
Oh yeah, how you even making now, by the way?
It's the most work ever. But it's so rewarding that it's not like I don't feel shitty, even though it's the hardest I've ever worked in my life. With the least amount of sleep for this long. It just feels good. I feel like I'm actually doing something. So it's like a nice. It's nice. Like I wish I could just get money and not go back to work ever again and do this. Like I would much rather be a stay-at-home dad than ever go back to work, for sure.
You're a great housewife, Matt.
I am. I actually am. That's what my mom says. I clean. I cook. Yeah, I take care of Bennett. I do all the yard work. It's pretty crazy. I'm like always working, like constantly. And then Bennett gets up like probably every 45 minutes to like an hour and a half. There's never been a longer stretch than that. So I haven't actually had more than that amount of sleep in like almost 8 months. It's crazy. It's weird. But I'm used to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say you've been really making yourself busy this whole time. So even like now, it's still really hard to get our podcast together.
I know. It's so hard.
Like,
But I mean, we're still have never missed a week. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
Yeah, we don't know. Still don't have no idea what this week's episode is. I was like also just swamped with work that I didn't really have time to think about this episode.
Well, I like that. I like that we just come in sometimes and we're like, I thought it would be an interesting test to see if I could actually do this from our garden shed. So this is out in our backyard. So
yeah, I was gonna say like you're in your shed.
Yeah, and there's full internet out here. Like I have the laptop recording, and I have like my little baby monitor because Cora's asleep. It's awesome. Everything's running off of like pretty good Wi-Fi out here. So
Yeah, I guess we should start the episode, I guess, and just go shoot the shit.
it's like we're on 29, aren't we?
Episode 29, baby. We're both surviving.
We did it. We made it to 29. I don't know. It's weird. Like, we're almost to 30 episodes, and I feel like we just started not that long ago. So that's kind of hilarious that we went from nothing to having 30 episodes that quickly. It's awesome.
It is wild to think about, especially like we started in, what was it, November? Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of feels natural to have like one episode a week now.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
At least try to.
Well, it's the only time I get to hang out with anybody. So I don't do anything else. I just, take care of Bennett, cook some food, clean up the house, clean up the yard, try to sleep, repeat. And I don't even know what day it is anymore. The only reason I know if it's like Wednesday or Saturday is because we have mini musicians for Bennett on Saturday morning at 9:15. So if that happens, I'm like, it's Saturday. Cool. And if we have swimming lessons, I know it's Wednesday. So other than that, every single day feels like a Tuesday. Like every single day feels like a little in-between day where I'm working towards the weekend, but the weekend never comes ever. So like I saw a movie by myself the other day. I saw Civil War, which was fucking awesome. That movie was wicked. That's the best movie I've seen probably in over a year at the movie theater, hands down. It was really good. But it was weird because when I was watching the previews for the opening previews, the like coming soon, I felt like I should be at home. I was like, oh, what about Bennett? It's like, oh, he's with Cora. Should I be cleaning? Should I be prepping something for later? It felt weird to not be at home worrying. So, like, I don't know. I started drinking coffee again. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's weird, dude. And it didn't do anything. But I love the taste of it so much that I just keep drinking it now. I'm like...
That's honestly why I drink coffee. Like, I don't know, man.
It doesn't wake me up. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, hit a threshold for me too.
How
we did get a bunch of like French vanilla coffee made because we got sick of the what was it? I think I ordered it in December, like a huge batch of like coffee mate, and it took us 4 months to go through. And and everyone was so tired of that flavor of coffee mate for so long at the shop.
That's awesome.
God. Yeah, and now we're on to French Vanilla.
And you're doing stuff at work, and you're post Japan Sully now. Do you feel different? Do you
Ugh.
feel like you went through a level up experience kind of thing, or do you just feel like you left and came back again? Like, what is it like?
It it's kind of weird where I kind of it's because it felt so immediate, right? Like because obviously like I got off the plane, crashed out, and then it's like, oh shit, I have to wake up to go to work in the morning. So because even when I left, I was like I after my day of work, I waited to go to the airport for so long, and it just kind of felt like a blip
It's
within the
crazy.
time frame than anything. And coming back, first it was like, man, this is a transcending like experience, and then it was like, damn, I'm really being brought back down a few levels, uh,
That's
back to
crazy.
reality a bit.
I can't believe
Yeah,
you went to
so
Japan and then came back. It's nuts. Do you
it
think
really
you'll
feels
move
surreal.
there? Do you want to go there? Is this just like what are you gonna do now?
I have thought about it. I'm still learning. I don't have my lessons with Yoko anymore. Mainly because just like I couldn't afford it. I was like, Yoko, you're too expensive for me right now. Like, I'm as much as I love to keep learning Japanese from you. I think I'll stop our lessons now and then just try to recuperate my financial situation because it did cripple me for a bit. If I'm being real. So,
Can you just do some
yeah.
stuff on your own? Like,
Yeah, I've been still passively learning the language because even my Twitter feed is like nothing but like half English and like half Japanese.
yeah.
So whenever I'm scrolling Twitter, I'm still learning Japanese because I'm still trying to learn. Whenever I see a post, I'm still trying to read what they're saying and translate what they're saying, catching mistranslations, which has been quite something I find myself doing a lot more. And then since I still watch a lot of anime, I even like when I see like, man, why are they saying the sentence wrong? What are the translators smoking right now? It's
Man, my friend in junior
so,
high, he taught himself Japanese. It took him 3 years, and he just used books and audio tapes.
yeah, actually, I was kind of like on a I wasn't sure if I was going to continue learning Japanese, but then like I was looking at like a lot of things where it's like good advice to take on yourself, and then it's like man, it's like oh, man, look, like if you learn a language, it's going to take you years to
Yeah,
learn all this stuff, right? Then it's like, well, years are going to go by anyways, so why not take the leap and do it? And I was like, wow, I never really thought about it like that, so
you gotta move to
I guess I'll
Japan.
just. I've been thinking about it. It's been hard to try to find a stable way to get myself to point A to point B without like crippling where I have and where I'm going even afterwards. So
Yeah, dude, I know what you mean. Like as soon as like saved up for years to move into our house and looked at houses for 2 years, planned to have a baby, and then all of our planning all like happened and executed all at once where we got a house, had a baby, moved here, and we don't even have any money to paint a wall. Like we still have things on the walls from the past owners, and we've lived here for almost a year cuz we just don't have any money. It's crazy. We have a baby now, so we have to do everything for Bennett, which is great, but it's like we just started changing the work shed. Like everything you see isn't even mine. This is the past owners. The only thing that's mine are those croquet mallets right there. That's it. The lawnmower is not ours. This entire room, this ceiling, everything was filled with the past owner's stuff, and we've been sifting through his things for almost a year, and we don't even have money to paint a wall. Like it's fucking ridiculous, and we have a whole house now. So yeah, I get it. Everything's so expensive now. It's really. I went to a town meeting for Bible Hill. Yeah,
oh yeah, how was
it
that?
was
That sounds
interesting.
wild.
They like got into it with each other. It was a little heated. And
They usually are.
it was just weird because there was only 6 people there and me, and I was like, oh shit, this is like a reality show. And they talked about like a new printer to buy versus like $150,000 backup generator for like someplace. But it was just
Yeah.
weird because I was sitting there and I was wearing like my nice clothes that I would wear sometimes at White's if we had like a client coming in. And I was like, I haven't dressed nice in like 8 months. And I'm at Bible Hills Council meeting about a tractor trailer on our street. And I'm like, how's my life where does this direction come from? Like, I went from like watching movies and like going out and drinking with the guys, and Now I'm like at a council meeting concerned about children's safety on our street. Like, what the hell's
It's
going
like,
on?
how do I voice my opinion on this?
Oh, I did. I
Yeah.
told them everything, but it was just weird. Bylaws and stuff are really strange. That's a whole other episode, but like,
A-
yeah.
Actually, I still get letters from how like often we do with our district. Like I remember one, it was like it was kind of funny to see because we had like a survey to do with all of us as like people of Highfield. Like, what do you guys think about adding a bike lane? It was so many people who said no.
Really?
Yeah. Because some of the bike lanes just haven't turned out well. Especially like I don't know why they shrunk Spring Garden Road. That shit is burnt as hell. Spring
It
Garden is
looks
such a smaller
terrible.
street.
All of
Oh
the.
my god, it was already
It looks like
it was already a small.
prison, you know? There's like
It
these
was already
big,
a small street.
yeah, it's shitty, and like there's these big concrete like pits in the ground where there should be beautiful plants, but it's just like shitty looking. Um, yeah, I'm sorry Halifax, but I'm really glad I moved out of there. I like being in a little town now. It's really nice. It's so quiet here, and I can actually like go outside and not worry about being, killed, which is nice.
Man, it's so weird because that's obviously where I grew up. I grew up in a huge small town, and it's so weird because a lot of times I do miss it because even like not too long ago I met with one of my old buddies who is here going through some stuff, and I was like, "Yo, we'll shoot your shit," and it just felt so weird to like when I was talking to my old buddy. I felt like I really got like 180 to back to how I used to before I was a city guy. And I was like, "Damn, it really feels like no time's passed." And after he left, I was like, man, I really am a lot different than how I used to be. Like, oh my god, I would never say like a lot of stuff that I mean with my other
Yeah,
like
it
city
changes
friends.
you for sure. It's
Yeah.
it's hard to explain to people who don't ever leave their hometown. Like, I feel like I'm really lucky because I still go to Halifax every single day commuting. So like, I feel like even though I live in Bible Hill, I'm still in Halifax over half of the time. So I don't know. Like, I don't think I would like working in Bible Hill. Uh, so I like that I can go to Halifax every day and still like do whatever. Like if there's some movie playing, or if we had to go to Propeller Arcade, or catch the new shitty Marvel movie, we can all do that as a group still. Like I'm not stuck over here in Bible Hill. So, and it's not that bad, the commute. It's only 40 minutes, and I've just been listening to music and catching up on stuff. But now that I'm not driving every day, it's so weird because I still get up at 6 because Bennett gets up at 6, and then I'm looking after him until about 6:30 when he goes to sleep. So it's like I'm working the same hours as White's, but I don't have any money from it. So, yeah, fuck. It'll be good to have money again though. But dude, I'm really gonna miss looking after Bennett. Like, I think I'm gonna have like my soul crushed when I have to go back to work, cause he'll be at daycare and I won't get to see him every day. Like, honestly, I have like anxiety about it because even though it's hard when he's crying or if he's doing something crazy to look after him, like I won't get to see him every day anymore. Like when I come home at 6, he'll be going to sleep. So it's gonna suck. But yeah, sorry, I'm rambling, but shit.
To be fair, it's still like months away from now, so you still got a lot of time to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, we have the whole summer. It's just that every day he like when he wakes up, he's more cognitive. So like he's like turning pages in books now and looking at you and like laughing, and like he has 4 teeth now, like his 2 front and his 2 bottom, and it's just really weird because it's like I don't know, man. I always knew about babies and like I had little brothers, sisters, and or stuff like that, but like once you have one and you see them growing in real time every day, and you're responsible for like keeping them alive every hour of the day, it's really weird. Like I kind of understand why there are and were really popular religions, because it's so batshit crazy that this little like embryo has grown to like a human that's thinking and moving and talking and walking and eating that quickly. Like it's really insane that it happens that quickly. And then they're off in school before you know it, and they're learning, and like I don't know, it's really fast. Really, really
It
rambling.
really it really is because even we could just pretty much a baby chats episode because obviously yeah because I'm like the oldest of one of my siblings out of six, and I got to see like like my youngest siblings like just be born and just become like, and now it's so surreal thinking my eldest sister. Before I remember when my first sister was first born, and now she's like an adult now, whatever, doing her thing. And even like my youngest brother, he's like he's bragging about being a teenager. It's so weird. He's like only 13. Uh,
So strange.
it's- yeah, yeah. It's just so wild to think about, especially when like I remember like taking care of them when they were like little. A lot of times when I told them like all the stories of me carrying them and housing, they're like they didn't really believe me. It's like, no, I would never let you do that. Why would you hold me like that? It's like, well, there's nobody else to. Like I'm, I used to change your diapers, carry you around, give you your
That's
suitor and
wild.
stuff like that.
I don't
Yeah,
even.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
talked about
yeah.
having more than one kid, but I don't know yet. Well, we're gonna wait a couple of years to see how it is with Bennett, just because, like, honestly, like, I don't know how both of us can work and have more than one kid and afford anything. Because it's almost like since 2020, everything is so fucking expensive. Like, it's obscene. Like, there was no gradual increase. It was just like everything is 65% more across the board. And we're expected to just continue doing what we're doing somehow. I don't know how we're supposed to. Like, it's a miracle that Cora and I even have a home. I don't. We're just lucky that it happened. You know. We.
If it makes you feel any better, I had a teacher in high school who had a kid in every year of high school, grade 9, 10, 11, 12. And she was
Jeez.
still the hottest teacher in school. And it was like wild. I was like, how did you keep your figure?
And
Like
that
it
was
was,
and that was before 2020 though, so things were different
yeah,
back then.
oh, it's, even just a year back to back of childbirth. It's just so insane to think about. Like how did you go through that? Like,
Honestly, dude,
my
I
God.
can see how because Cora has already been like, we should just have another baby, and I'm like, what? We're he's almost 8 months old. Like we should just see how everything's going. Like I'd love to have another kid too, but like it's like I don't know. Ooh, oh, phew, no sleep.
You got a birth more. You got the farmer genes in you. You're like, man, this kid will be great for the fields.
Yeah.
Uh, it's
uh,
and the tractor behind you. Yeah, dude, farm work. Let's go.
it is crazy. Like my niece, for example, she's 16 now, and when she was 14, she was talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden and stuff, and I'm like, man, when I was 14, I didn't think about any of this shit. I was just being a dumb teenager, like a kid. Like I was watching movies and like hanging out with my friends and not worrying about world politics. Like things are, I feel bad for them. I feel like they're almost. I mean, it's cool they're smarter and they know stuff about world issues, but like I almost feel like they're being robbed a little bit of like their childhoods. It sucks, you know.
It's so weird because even my sister, she started high school, and then she ended up going through surgery for her back, and then she had like her I think she had her immune system compromised, so she had to be like quarantined for a few months, but and had to take leave from school. It was like her first year of high school,
Damn.
and then after a few months, COVID happened, so she
Oof.
had to be under quarantine for even longer. She was already
God.
doing all stuff from home, so she was she was getting the brink of it. So she had like the whole like years of COVID, I think, until like last year when she graduated, of like experiencing all that. So she spent a lot of her time like learning online and like
That's
all that stuff.
crazy. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine, you know?
Like I did an online course, but that's because I was an idiot and failed the course. It
I know,
wasn't
but
because it was mandatory.
it is
Yeah.
strange though because like I mean, I know there's always like two sides to this conversation with people because it's like in one sense, like of course it's great that we were all able to continue learning and, do our jobs somehow through a pandemic. There is no debate about that. Like it's great that we didn't die from COVID. No debate about that. I'm just saying it fucking sucks because like all these kids didn't get a prom. They didn't get to go on dates. They didn't get to make dumb mistakes or like I don't know. They'll be doing studies on this in years to come to see psychologically what this has done to a whole generation of people. It's bizarre. I don't know. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, it is wild because I mean, like, I was 20 when like the COVID started, and it's been like I'm 25 now. It feels weird to really think about like a good change in my adult life, and then have to like, oh, this is my time to go explore the world. Everyone's like, actually, you can't explore shit right now. I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Dude,
I guess I won't.
they wouldn't even let you go to like public parks. Like that shit sucked. Like everything sucked. And I know I'm just like, "Meh," but like it. I know we survived COVID. It's cool that precautions were taken or whatever. But like, I think we can say I can give my opinion and be like, that fucking sucked. Like, I feel bad for everybody. When I was 20, when I was like, finished at NSCC, I went off and became an animator, like at a studio, and made a whole bunch of new friends and artists. And then I left a couple months later and went to an art university. Like, all that happened in just that 1 year. So, like, your 20th year is, you know, you're out of school and then a pandemic hits the fucking planet. Like that's some science fiction apocalypse crazy shit, you know? Like
Yeah, it was wild because I was like, obviously where we work now, I was just like really contemplating as a man. It's like, I'm gonna lose my job. I gotta start really. So I started applying at every other place. I kept calling our boss. I was like, hey, man, I've been like preparing for the worst. Like, when are you guys gonna let me go? He's like, we're not gonna let you go. So I was like, okay, cool, good talk. Call him the next day. Hey, so I've been getting ready for everything. When are you guys gonna let me go? I was so worried, man.
I would be too. It's crazy. You just finished your work term and then we're on staff
Yeah,
for like a little bit and the world went to hell. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, it was wild times for sure.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like if we had to go back and change anything, I'm not sure what I would do because I know a lot of people who were still getting paid by their jobs for like X amount of time. They would just go off and do things like build a greenhouse or not actually do anything for work. But I was so scared that we were going to lose our jobs and that there wouldn't be movies shot again for like, you know, an indefinite amount of time. It could have been months, years. Like, we didn't know what was going on. So I was just like really buckling down, trying to learn everything I could about cameras and movies and how like film industries worked as like machines and I was so anxious every day. I was like, what are we going to do? Like, I don't even know how to do another job anymore. I don't even know how I would apply what I know about the film industry to like landscaping. Like, I don't know how to do anything. I'm kind of useless outside of the film industry at this point.
Oh my God, that's like, it's been how I felt kind of lately. Like,
Oh no. Lately? What do you mean?
late, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I just my whole life has been like just working at White's, being the extra hand, and it's just been like, yeah, that's kind of how I perceive a lot of my work life. So every time I'm thinking about, it, like, man, like, if I really did leave, like, what could I do? And to go back to small town life, there is the biggest gripe I've had with small town life is like how hard it is like for jobs and like how often it feels super cutthroat. Oh my God. And a lot of times it isn't really a lot of times like part-time work. It isn't really full-time. So back home, I was really just like a job only lasts like a season of sorts and I have to wait a month go I was lucky enough where I didn't have to go on EI. I haven't been on EI yet in my life yet.
Oh.
Uh yeah, I know, right? But a lot
Same,
of times I've
except
seen
for
so
COVID.
many.
We were on EI for one half a day during COVID. That's
Is that
it,
what
though.
that is?
Yeah, yeah. That was the only
Okay.
time that I've been on it though too. Um, I think that
Yeah,
counts as
and
EI,
then
doesn't it?
I don't know if that does, to be quite honest. It's
Hmm.
kind of a very peculiar situation that was.
Sorry, I sidetracked that whole thing. But yeah, I know what you mean. There's not many jobs. I mean, unless you're like
Y-
working in politics or something. You know?
Yeah, exactly, and like or like really specific office jobs that don't need a lot. And like even a lot of time, I think my hometown, like I already know like a lot of my council stuff. Like I still keep in touch with like a lot of my the politics that go around back home because I mean it still involves me and to a good extent since they still take care of me the best they could. They try anyways. They forget I exist a lot of times, but you know it is what it
Oh.
is. I'm like, hey man, it's Sully Gugu. Sully, you got to be more specific. Like Leslie's son, and it's just so and so, and they're like. Oh, you're that so. Oh, yeah, yeah, crazy, right? Yeah, 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 yeah. Please help me.
The prodigal son returns.
So and so.
Yeah, I know. You're in a really weird position that never existed at our work ever. We've never even had somebody who was a work term student come on and then be hired that quickly as full time. But it's almost like you're not like you don't have one specific thing. You're just like doing everything. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
we need you here, we need
I've
you here, we need you here, we need you here, and you're like, okay, I'll go over there. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I float around. I float around in each department the best I could, in extent, and I get it makes them really confused with what they want to do with me, obviously even this year I've been really like trying to take strides and like this is what I want to do, like really forcing my opinion on a lot of stuff. Uh, yeah, I'm hoping it turns out for the better. If not, you'll see me back home in a shed like yourself. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, no matter what
Uh,
happens, we'll always have the Shed podcast, Sully. We'll just
True.
change it to
I do.
Shed podcast instead of Slush. It'll be Shed.
Yeah. I mean, if I did lose the current job I have, I'm not like completely worried. I mean, I probably would leave the city. I would probably move back home. I don't know if I'll move after Halifax per se, if I
Yeah.
ever decide to even go leave the hometown. But I do know at least have like an area to like station myself, ground myself in, reevaluate my plan. I actually wouldn't be staying with my mom or brother at all. I'll just be staying with a good buddy of mine. Uh, even just trying to even just assess how this podcast will go and everything like that. But I don't know. That's a bit grim for to think about and I think of it because I'm just trying to
It's a grim life, you
focus
know?
on.
Shit.
It's true.
That's going to
It's
be the
true.
name of this episode. It's a grim life.
Yeah, we chat about life, dude.
Well, I feel like since the pandemic happened, like right before the pandemic, I felt like I was starting to get I don't know what the word would be. Not like depressed, but I've got really anxious because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing because I was in my mid 30s. I was like, what am I doing like exactly here? I don't know what I'm doing because I volunteered for my job at White's and then I got hired on part time, then worked on movie sets, and then I got full time at White's. Then I've been there for 17 years, which is insane. And I just didn't even know White's existed until the day I went to volunteer. Like I didn't plan on doing anything on a movie set except for like I didn't know what I was gonna do. I knew I didn't want to do a technical thing like a camera assistant or like a grip or like a spark. I didn't really know what any of that was. I never even heard of that stuff. I just was like, it would be fun to write a screenplay or something. You know, like two of my other friends in my class, they make movies now. Like Wildhood, you know, a guy from my class did that movie. He was in my graduating class. We only had like 7 people graduate. It wasn't.
Yeah, I auditioned for that role.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like an old like a two-spirited native story. Way back in college, I went to do an audition for this guy. It was such a weird audition. Sorry, by the way, for listening, but it
No,
was just
it's
so weird because
great.
he just like, yo, like I was like, all right, so what kind of character would you like me to play? It's like, oh, we're just gonna sit down and have a conversation. It's like, what? You want me to be myself? I thought this whole point is for me to not be myself. I'm like, what's going on here?
Oh boy.
And then so we sat down and talked, and I was like, all right, cool, we'll be in touch. And then never been in touch again. And obviously, when I got the job at White's, he didn't expect to see me so often. So it became pretty awkward real quick as I was seeing him picking the equipment up. I was like, oh shit, you guys are starting that thing I auditioned for. Like, yeah, dude, so sorry.
You're like, I gotta go now.
I
Check
got,
some gear.
yeah. So I'm loading his equipment up. I was like, yeah, I hope it goes well. I was like, dude, you were a great guy. I was like, I mean, not great enough to be on your movie, but
Oh
whatever.
my god. Oh.
Oh my god, that was great.
Yeah,
That was
I mean,
great.
when I went to school with him, he was really quiet, I remember. But I think that him and one other guy, I think Neil Woodman, I don't know, I thought they did their best films in the class. Brett was probably the best filmmaker in the class. He was a writer though. Like I didn't think he would be directing anything, but he's a really good writer. I think he's been doing that most of the time, but I think he's doing a new movie soon. What are we even talking about? How to get on this? The point is,
Yeah, actually, how did we get here?
I didn't even think I would be doing this, so I can only imagine for you what it's like just being thrown around between different pretty major positions. It's not like one is like they're only related to each other because they're on a movie set, you know? You're not going to be cleaning a lens and then fixing a chair in the same day at most other jobs, you know?
Yeah, it is kind of surreal experience to be like, oh yeah, I fixed like a royal flush kind of sink. Like I'm also working on like industrial grade cameras and like, what the
Yeah.
hell? What's your job? Like,
Dude, you know what?
yeah,
This is what I've experienced since I've started to do more of the way more camera stuff. I don't even do lighting and grip anymore, but like I was so tuned into doing lighting and grip that switching to camera where everything's very delicate and you have to be very careful with stuff, I find it hard going back to lighting and grip because like just picking a regular order like for like a little mini commercial is like it kills me. It kills my body because I'm so used to just like putting the matte box on and like taking the lens and like I know the cases are heavy and stuff when you're picking the package, but once they're all open and you're just moving the little bits around and changing them, it's not even comparable to like setting up an 18K on like a Cinevator and pushing it through the rain and like almost dying from electrocution with Seaway. Like it's a whole other game. So I find it really hard. I don't think I can switch back and forth between the two anymore.
I've been going crazy. I've been going crazy doing just that. That's
Yeah.
why like I need some stability in my life right now. That's whenever like I do go work on camera, I'm like I'm just gonna focus on just one particular lens.
You're
Not thinking
doing
about it for a
great.
while.
Honestly, I think you're
Yeah.
doing great.
Yeah. But I do find myself in like a weird area because obviously I don't have experience like I technically on set at all. Um,
A lot of people
I
don't
I
though.
it's just because I just like I kind of like obviously I got into whites at a really weird time because we were moving shops. That's I'll put this point. That's my why I was initially hired because we're like oh yeah we're moving to a grand opening in like September. We need like folk to help us move. We're like oh yeah no worries. And then it just never let me go and and then obviously during it like I was like oh this is stable like job into film like I could still learn and study or whatever for so long until like they decided to let me go. And then obviously the pandemic hit. And it's like, oh my god, there's no jobs outside of here. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I got put full time, and then I was like, I don't know what area I should go in if I ever even do side digs out of work outside of like whites. And I just never really found an opportunity to do that for so long. And
Yeah.
then now that things have like obviously like time has flown by and we moved into a new area. Uh, I'm really just starting to reflect back on the last 5 years and what I really want to do with myself in the industry. It's been really kind of like a really weird look. I don't know if like I do love whites. I kind of just have a feel like the last 3 years specifically, I felt like they all blend together so well that I don't know if that's how I really want my life going forward.
Hmm.
But because I feel like the day I think of like, man, this seems like so and so. It's like, man, the day that was like 3 years ago, like almost to the dot. Like
I
that's so weird to
know.
think about. It just this familiarity and just uh, kind of just sense of like time. It just doesn't feel as jank as it used to be. Because I feel like my time back home was obviously like very wild. Like it kind of felt like cowboy western type style, where it was always a new thing. Like almost every week, they had to try
Yeah.
to combat or to survive, or
Well, I
just
think
trying to
it's
make it
hard
by
to.
the week.
It would be. In my opinion, I think it's hard to imagine switching back to the Wild West style because it's not even that you become comfortable with having like a stabilized job like that. I just think that it's hard the older you get to switch everything around every day or every month, like because it's like you can't really get your footing. The older you're getting, like I can tell you from, being 40 now, like when you turn 30, man, everything starts to feel a lot more painful. Like it's really strange. You don't think it's going to happen, but like, you know, it's rough and especially people's backs, they really start to get bad. So there's a lot of things like I don't even have some of like the technicians on set who are like pushing 50 or even able to like, I mean, you've felt how heavy some of this shit is. Like it's pretty And you're lifting it up all weird and loading into trucks and taking it out in bad weather, and then I don't know, like it's really, I don't know, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so weird because a lot of my family still lives as well Russian kind of style. Especially my mom because she goes from job, gets laid off, has to go for another job and then whatever because everything is working season with fisheries and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Even my brother is also my elder brother. He also goes through that. My younger brother doesn't have to go through it. He has a stable job, kind of like I do. Granted, he works longer hours. But it just I still hear a lot of how that side works. I'm never like out of the loop of how like everything is. So I wouldn't be like in the dark if I did had to jump back in the ring to that kind of extent. But obviously, just the biggest thing is just jobs that are so scarce back in Cape Breton in general.
Hmm.
Uh, because that's my biggest fear about like even just leaving like the city. It would be much harder for me to like have consistent work. Even, technically, it's kind of weird how it is with like reserve since I'm Native American. I have my
What?
chief and
I thought
council.
you were Korean.
No, I thought this
This
guy was
whole
Japanese.
time.
He came from Japan and he's not Japanese. What's going on?
And the podcast.
And the podcast. I can't do this.
Oh fuck. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if we've ever even. We should do an episode on you talking about that because I don't think we really. We probably mention it offhand occasionally in the background.
I think we just kind of. I think we kind of just joke about it more so than anything about the stupid things. Yeah.
We should. Do
It is kind of it is kind of funny compared to how Cape Breton is compared to like mainlander is. Because a lot of times at Cape Breton, nobody gives your person for a person. And when I first moved here, being native and whatever, like, oh my God, you're native? Oh, you must be so in touch. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking? Why are you talking to me so weird, man? Like, why you gotta bring this up? Like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess I climbed a tree once or twice. I don't know.
Oh my god. Oh shit.
and then and then I used to make jokes. So it's like, yeah, it was like, oh man, it was great. I always got to see my cousin. All I had to say was, whoa, and they
Oh
come right out,
my
like,
god.
and they're all like, ooh,
Oh shit.
because they're so baffled because I never heard jokes like that, and they're like,
I've never heard those
So-
jokes from someone before either. So there's a
yeah,
first.
yeah, because there's jokes like that back in the island, and like compared to here, it's never like that kind of style. So it was just so weird. I probably got that bit in me because I met my buddy not too long ago.
That's fair though.
Uh,
I think we should do like an episode all about all of that. I think that would be really interesting. Cause why the hell not, Sully? Why the hell? Cause I'll just sit here in silence the whole time, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, I think I mentioned this story to you many times before because I think it's just so funny. When they were shooting like a native movie in Cape Breton, a Squanto, uh, this is great because this is back when my mom was a teenager and she went to go audition for one of the roles in here. But then I forget what she told me. I think she just wanted to party instead, so she pawned me and my brother off to one of my babysitters so we can do that. And then sorry, mom, if I got the story wrong, but that's how I remember it right now.
we'll get her on the
Uh,
podcast.
yeah, and a lot of my cousins and a lot of people I did know who did go on this movie, they weren't they weren't dark enough to be on the movie. But it's so weird because they are native. They're full-blooded natives. They're just like paler than I am, or they're just as pale as you. And they're like, oh, we need to like darken your skin a bit to look more authentic. And it's
Oh
like, but we
my.
are native. I was like, so they had whole paintings to. It's so weird, right? Like, what kind of gray area is this? That painting natives to be more dark.
Would they? I don't think they could do that today. I don't think you get away with that.
I
Right?
don't know. I think I mean I still think you could.
Oh
It's just
boy.
so it's just weird because I mean they are like being authentic and hiring natives. Just so happen a lot of natives are just like paler now.
The
So
next podcast, we're running you through hair and makeup, Sully. I've been meaning to bring this up, but you know,
yeah, because
we gotta
I would
go.
imagine because I imagine that's how I imagine like some even like on the latest movie like one of the biggest native movies like Prey. I imagine they must have had some folk go through this as well.
That movie was fucking awesome. I was so happy with that. I couldn't believe it didn't come to movie theaters. It's like we did the first good Predator movie in so long, and you're telling me it's just on streaming. This is ridiculous. Um, yeah, that would be interesting though to do an episode about like natives in movies. Isn't there? Have you seen Windtalkers?
Wind Talkers?
Yeah,
I've heard of it. Yeah.
it's pretty good. Nick Cage movie. There's I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff like that. We should dive into a bunch of those types of films. It would be fun.
You you want to know one of my favorite cameos of natives in film? It's in Suicide Squad 2016. One of the main guys is Native American, and it's like one of his first times being like in a big major budget, and he's like one of the first characters to immediately die off in this
He's the
movie.
first character to die.
It is so cool. I was like, that's my boy. Because like they're all getting ready to like invade the city or whatever. Like, and one guy's like, you know what? I don't believe you could blow my head off. So he like grapples hooks away, and in another building, his head blows up, and he's just kind of dangling there. And then Will Smith and gang are like, yep, that shit's real.
Wait a minute. I
And it's
think
like,
that is the actor from Wind Talkers. I'm pretty sure that's him.
yeah.
Oh no. I'm looking it
Oh,
up.
that was. Oh, that's such a great scene, man. I was like, yo, we got representation. Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's just not right. There's so many things still happening where I'm like, oh boy, I don't even know.
We take the small W's, man, no matter what.
Look how far off of topic we've gone. I don't even remember. We got into this because I just don't know. I don't know what else I would do, to be quite honest. I'm sure I could go to some other job. I like what I'm doing. And now we have a baby too, so I'm kind of like in dad mode forever now. So unless something really awful happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tune in.
I'm kind of in a weird like wavy moment where I don't know if this is what I want to keep doing. I just it just been kind of just eating at me longer and longer each day.
Yeah, you
Like
seem like it, you know. We talk about it.
yeah, I've been going through a goalposts in my head to like goals to like make and reevaluate, and then Japan was a really big one. That I was like, all right, after this trip, I really want to evaluate going. Even it really did put some perspective in what I wanted to do in life, because a lot of times I've been here for so long, and then I really do think I want to make the big goal in June, where it'll be like my officially technically 5 years. It'll be 5 years technically in May. That for how long I've been here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, are
It's
you
wild to think about.
5 years? Dude, I
Yeah.
know. I've been like, we've had people at our shop who've been there for almost 25 years, and I'm like, how is this even? How are you? How did you? Oh my God, it is the same actor.
Yeah, that's my boy.
I just can't believe that. And now he's dead in that movie. Yeah, it's weird, dude. I don't know. I feel like I'll have a different opinion. Who knows what I'll be like once I get back to work? It's probably going to be really bizarre, you know, being at White's again all day, every day, and not being with Bennett. It'll be really weird. It'll be a big switch. Because it was easy to transition into doing this because it's like I'm looking forward to it. Not that I'm not looking forward to going back to work, but obviously it won't be very fun to not see Bennett. Because, yeah, fuck, it's going to suck. But the point is, this is a baby chats episode, and
I mean, yeah, we did kind of dive deep with babies. We both talked about us, how we change diapers.
hey, when you have a kid, we'll do baby chats with Sully. It'll be funny.
Dear God.
You never know.
Yeah,
Never know.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
It's true,
I
man.
always look. Yeah, yeah. Maybe at some point. I don't know. I feel like it's beyond me, like my decision making at this point.
Hey, I was with a partner for 8 years, and she did not want to have a baby, and I thought for sure we'd be together forever, and I didn't. You know, we weren't. And then I got to my 30s and met Cora, and she's like, "Let's have kids," and I was like, "Wow." I went through my entire 20s thinking I would never have a child, and got completely used to it. Now I'm married with a house and a kid and a lawnmower. So like, I never thought I would be in this position ever. You never ever could have convinced me that would have happened. So you never know. You never know.
My mom was dead set on her decision when she had a kid, like as a teenager. She wanted to be a really like young grandmother.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because she's like in her mid 40s now, but like late 40s.
So you got to get a grandkid going, Sully. Like,
Oh my, I know I must be just like disappointing her so much right now. Like it's like where's this kid popping out from? Like why are you making me wait?
Hey, you could just adopt a kid, and you could be like, you could adopt a Japanese baby, and like, you know, could be great.
Ohio.
My God. Oh
uh,
shit. Think of how good
oh
he'd
my
be at Yu-Gi-Oh then.
oh my god, I know. I tried to get my dad into it, but he it was so funny because he was watching me and one of my old buddies play Yu-Gi-Oh, and he was just watching in silence, and then he's like, "Dad, you want a deck? We got a spare deck. You want to play?" And then he's like, "I think that's enough for me." And he got up and walked away. It was like a moment I stopped to talk to him about it. It was so funny.
My dad, the only thing that my dad and I like is motorcycles. I mean, I got into that because he liked motorcycles. I didn't know anything about them. And then we built one. And like strangely enough, aeronautics. Like he was really into like jets and stuff and took me to air shows when I was little.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, whenever I'm like, "Hey, did you see the new Starship? It's like a 100-passenger spaceship." It sounds like I'm making it up. And then I'll show him the video of like the test launches, and he's like, "Yeah, but is it real?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's a 100-passenger spaceship. They want to populate Mars." And he's like, "Right." And I'm like, "Man, this sounds crazy when I say it out loud. Like it doesn't even sound real." So, you know,
Yeah.
I do like
Yeah. My
aeronautics, but
Yeah, my dad was a huge gamer. He used to have like these huge competitions with our neighbor about like leaderboards and stuff like that with like combat rankings and Call of Duty and sorts. He also got me into anime, but he isn't into anime himself. But he did get me into anime.
that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, because he was watching this show. I remember like clear as day because it was like first time like a neuron activation acted in my head. It's like an old anime called Desert Punk, and I was just watching alongside him. I was like 7 years old, and I was like, "Oh wow, what are we watching?" And it's like watching the show, and it's like, "Wow, this is a very like really erotic show. I don't know understand like what's going on." So then I asked him like, "Dad, why do you watch the show?" He's like, "This girl's got really big titties."
Oh
Then I
my
looked at the
God.
girl and I was like, "She does have really big titties," and it just hit like a neuron. I was like, "That's it. That's the appeal. That's why I'm gonna watch this show with my dad."
Oh my gosh.
And then I just became cripply addicted to anime for a long time.
See, I think the age difference between your parents and my parents is pretty great. So they didn't watch any of that stuff or play video games. Video games didn't even exist when they were like getting married. So there wasn't even Atari when they got married. There was nothing. There's probably like
Yeah,
coin ops or like some shit, maybe. I don't know. But definitely
yeah.
no
My
home consoles.
yeah my parents didn't get married till I was 18.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but I mean, you were born what year? 90.
I was I was born in 99, and obviously my dad that I grew up with was a stepdad. Since I have a different father than my younger siblings, but he was the one that grew up and raised me pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
And they didn't get married until I was about 18, so that was wild to think about. That so I didn't really get my name. I have a really long name with the Gugu Clark. Clark was my stepdad, my dad's last name that I adopted. So it was took a while for that to even go through. So wild to think about.
See, we got that from you watching titties anime. Look at
It's
this.
true,
Look
yeah.
at this side quest that's
He,
happening up
he
here.
must have he must have thought me and my brother were so weird because we got really into anime and we just started like watching the weirdest shit for so long. Especially when we got Wi-Fi for the first time, we just started finding out what anime was weird, what anime wasn't, and so you hear like a lot of like weird like sounds in my house. My house that we grew up in, the walls are really thin, so you can really hear everything, especially in the bathroom. If you're in the bathroom, you can hear literally every room in the house. It
Oh
was really
my.
weird. And in the in the basement, I had to get really used to this sound a lot. Unfortunately, that's why I used to like love listening to music on headphones and everything like that. Because I heard my parents bang more times than I like, and because the walls are so thin, I'm like, oh my god, they're doing it again. Seriously?
I don't even
So-
know what to say,
yeah.
Sully. That's
I
just.
know, but me neither. I didn't want to bring it up. Like whenever I saw them, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna ignore that
Oh
ever
wow.
happened throughout the night. Yeah.
I've never experienced that. I'm very lucky. I just watch Ghostbusters and stuck to myself, I guess.
Uh, uh, there is one. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna call
Oh
my mom right
God.
now to be honest, because there was one time. Unfortunately, my dad passed away. Also when I was 18. Um, but I was very supportive of her finding like a new boyfriend or whatever heck. Obviously, I still wanted her to be happy. And this is back when I was like, whenever I come back home, I'd be benching in one of the guest rooms. Uh, and this is how I found out she had a boy. I don't think she told anybody. I don't know. It's kind of feel bad for even talking about this. Because
Oh
I heard
boy.
her with her boyfriend, and I was like in the other room. I'm like, oh, I'm hearing everything right now. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should.
Oh no.
Ah. And then like the day morning of, I'm just like, it's not even think about it. And then she like talked about like I think a few months later about having like the seeing some guy, and I was like, oh, that's great. Oh, I think I know who this guy is.
Katsuo flashback in your mind. Oh boy.
Oh my God! Also on the same thing, I actually this is actually funny to think about because I got this guy deported accidentally.
Oh. Uh,
This was not intentional. All right, all right. I want my mom to find love or whatever. Heck, so she met this guy playing games online. They got really close together. And then he got a plane ticket, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna." This is while I was working at White's.
I remember this.
Yeah, yeah. So he's like, all right, he's gonna fly down and then you're gonna go there and come see him, and then you're gonna like let him crash at your place for the night, and then the next day he's gonna my mom's gonna take him, and they drive all the way back to Cape Breton and be happy ever after, whatever the heck. So my mom perused a few details about the guy. I knew he was like black, but the only thing his name that they gave him was his gamer tag, which was also black. So I was like, so I'm looking for a black guy named Black. I was like, I don't know if I can. How am I gonna do this? I have very little information to work with here. And then she's like, you'll be fine. And then so I'll go to the airport, and I'm just like, wait, what kind of sign do I? What? He doesn't even know what I look like. That's never. I don't even. What? It's just so hard to find. So I'm like trying to look any kind of photo. Nobody showed me what this guy looked like or even what his real name was. So I had to I wrote down like the best I could think of his gamer tag that still also said black, and then I was like,
That's
I
awesome.
I kept putting it down because like damn, I don't know. I'm looking for a black guy named Black. I don't have his gamer tag that says I don't know.
Oh my god.
I mean, so I'm walking through the airport, and I guess I completely missed the guy because we both couldn't find each other at all, and apparently like the Wi-Fi sucks back home, so they couldn't really talk to either me or Black. So by the time it was I think like 4 or 5 hours, I was walking through this goddamn airport. I'm like, my God, like I really haven't seen this man anywhere at all. And then I guess since nobody came to see him, like supposedly they had to deport him from the country of Canada.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my. See?
Yeah, it wasn't until I finally sat down and talked to my mom. I was like, hey, like it's like, oh my God, he got deported. I was like, I'm at the airport. What's going on?
Sully, we need to take all of your stories and do YouTube shorts with actors, and you can just direct them, and we'll just piece your whole life together with YouTube videos. It's gonna be great. I think we'll have a lot of hits, on our hands. We'll contact Brett. He can write one of them for you with the screenplay.
Hell yeah, dude.
Jesus. You're a wealth of crazy stories, man. A wealth.
Yeah, wildly.
I sound like so I'm just hanging over here hanging in my shed, and you're getting people deported. Like I don't know. It's a good combination, yin and yang. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my airport experiences have only been weird. So
I hate the airport. I'm really not. I don't know. I like traveling, but yeah, I'm not about that life. But we are going to travel.
I agree with you. After going through so many flights and connecting flights, I'm like, I could get off of. I would just want to be on the ground.
Yeah,
Just,
honestly, I think I'm yeah. I'll travel, but like, holy shit, I hate the airport. My battery is about to die in my Bennett cam. There he is.
Oh snap! So it is about to die.
Oh wow, the battery thing just flashed up. So it hates me. I guess that's how we'll end the episode with the Black story and deportation. What did we learn this episode? I don't know.
I cock blocked my mom, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
On that note,
Anyways,
it's episode 29. Don't forget to hit the like and
Yeah.
subscribe button, right, Sully?
Yeah, remember to like and subscribe. Remember to support your loved ones in their loving
Oh my
efforts.
god. Oh shit.
We're on Apple and Spotify respectively.
Respectively.
Comment your yeah. Remember to comment your favorite story throughout the episode. And this has been a wild one. We haven't get anywhere. Honestly, we just kind of started talking and it was just kind of hit record. Anyways, episode 29. Why am I doing this to my mother? Oh my god.